because I wasn't paying attention, but I don't care. I'd rather talk about this more than the game. It was just something for you to watch and then listen to. You can listen to this on your phone, during school, up to you. This is going to be a family-friendly concept. It is going to be made for people that understand this. You could be adult, you could be a kid. I don't know. I'm gonna probably make this for. Hey, it's your boy SJ. You don't even have to subscribe. If you aren't, I would suggest you should probably, but you don't have to like the video. I'm not asking for likes no more. Only like if you enjoy. Alright, I'm not gonna ask for anything else. I'm gonna be explaining today's video why I think Black Lives Matter to me. And I am white. For my friends that know, I do have a lot of African American friends in the black community, and I actually care for them. And I know about black people more than I know about my own culture. And that's always, it's always hard to know who I am. Am I white or am I identified as black? Like, my soul is, that's the thing. It's because the contrast between police brutality against black people and then gangsters that are getting away with murder. But like, I understand the gangster, yes, that's a problem, but you've seen that cops try to, like, criminals will automatically be able to become a cop instantly. They don't, like, people won't even know that officers killed an innocent person before they became in the law enforcement. But like, they need to start taking notice now. Black Lives Matter. They started this so we could start getting to know and understanding that it's not okay. I understand. I used to say, oh yeah, all lives matter, but specifically Black Lives Matter, because you don't see Hispanic lives in trouble. You don't see Mexican maybe, but the Trump, but like, you don't see their lives in danger at a high value. You don't see them get shot for no reason. You don't see them get pulled over for only going the right speed limit. Like, only ones you see doing the right, not the right speed limit, going too slow is grandma. But that's not our grandma, but just saying, like, old grandmas in total. But in the point, you gotta really think about it, that how much we choose to actually care about it will actually affect what happens in the future. I understand, yeah, Corona, it's a thing that spreads, but we understand that racial identification has been a problem for a while, and for the last couple hundred years of the racial identification of the slaves, some African Americans sold themselves to other people because they were broke and they wanted money, but some of them were taken and they were like kidnapped on their own will. Not on their own will. They were forced. Like some of the natives. Sometimes the natives even sold each other to other natives like that. It was a thing. But at the same time, black people gotta realize, if you are guilty, you gotta explain. And if you aren't guilty, then you should be fine. I've even seen some old videos of cops breaking in the guy's car because he was telling his kid something that he said, Daddy's not gonna be back for a long time. I didn't do anything, but I'm gonna be arrested because that's how it is in America. He's like, I love you and I'm gonna see you. Before he finishes his sentence, the cop breaks the window of the car and tasers him and then pulls him out. So, even does it with the mother too. And it's just sad because he was having a conversation. You could see the cops saw that. But the kids were just crying because of what happened. That broke in the window, they're crying. Even his wife was crying. Because she knew what was going to happen. It was just so sad. That's why, like, we need to take this seriously. It's something that they're really in danger. Like, don't mind about the gangsters. They're probably more in... We don't really need to worry about them. But, like, the innocent ones in common, we've seen plenty of innocent ones. You could tell an innocent man versus a non-innocent man. Not because of their color, not because of their race. You could tell by the way they are. Not every black person is bad. Just because they're black doesn't mean they're bad. Just because they're white doesn't mean they're an angel. That's why how we called, or the native colonists called them, the Native Americans, savages, because they survived off the land without technology, without iron, like they made things out of stone, so they called them savages. But and then they called us the white, colonists, the white devils because they were white, but they had guns and they knew things without even knowing because they would worship. They didn't know things that other people knew. But it's just kind of odd that African Americans came from a place where everything was a safari, and then the Amazon rainforest where everything looked nice and beautiful and not hectic in cities and laws. Like, and them coming to America, they would think, oh yeah, the American dream, it's gonna be great here. And then they end up being innocently shot without even knowing what's going on. And that's why any black person that knows when they get pulled over by a cop, they're like, oh, here we go again. Honey, we're gonna die. Yeah, they fear for their life. Even if they're, like any of the innocent ones. All the ones that are not innocent, they'll be like, I'm caught. Don't even know that they're a criminal. The cops won't. They'll just kill them no matter what. It's just disgusting. Why? It's just sad to see. I know that Brenda, if you watch this video, you would understand too. Like, what the heck is going on? He doesn't even remember about your gender either. Like, you could be like Michael Jackson. If Michael Jackson got reincarnated and was his color as he was, but he wanted to become white again, they would automatically arrest him because they would try to charge him as a white person, but he would charge him as a black person at the same time. They would charge him with both. They would charge him with identity theft for changing his color. And that's just stupid. Because there's a new thing where you could get a DNA dose and it will change your color from white to black instantly. You could change from a black person to a white person just by changing the amount of heat put in a DNA diagnostic needle or a syringe. And it's just, they weren't originally that DNA. They weren't born from that. They weren't born from that culture. They just turned to that. It's like a male person turning into a female. They choose to. And now it's choosing with color. It's just stupid. But police brutality, that's not on their own will. That's on the police. The police choose to shoot a civilian for no reason. Because they think, because they're a police officer, they think they're going to get away with everything. That's not the case. You're not going to get away with everything. If you shoot an innocent person, you're not going to get away with it. But at the same time, there are some people that are not innocent and they pull out a gun and they're black on a coincidence. But there's been hundreds of times where, like George Floyd, like a lot of these, he might have not been innocent, but I'm saying he could have been innocent even more. There's chances for everything. Sometimes people hide things. Like, we all know, all of us make mistakes and all of us have problems. Sometimes some things we can't control. Some things I was born with, some things we're all born with, and we can't control it. I didn't choose to be white. I didn't want to be white. It's not because I was like, oh, I'm white, I gotta act this way. No. I'm different. I'm a one-of-a-kind man. People call me weird because I'm different. I understand they call black people different. Yes, I could feel your pain. Because I get accused for being different, too. Not because of my colors, because of how I act. I'm a guy that has ADHD, ADD. I have Hashimoto's disease that makes me where I cannot produce fat. I got a hypothyroid, so I can't gain fat. I only burn everything I eat. So I'm just muscle. I'm muscle and bone. And just veins. So it's just like, to understand that cops don't treat me the same as treating a single white person, I could understand that. Because when I was little, I was not really naughty of a boy. They didn't know that I had diagnosed things. They would say it was a mental disease for a white person, but if the black person did it, they would have said it was a criminal. That's just stupid. I know that for a factor because if I was their color, I would have been charged. But I was too young to know because I was being abused. I didn't grow up because if you're abused, you won't grow until the abuse stops. And then when the abuse stopped to me, I started growing. So at the same time, you need to just, like, contact me if you're having problems, and I will help you out with them. Like, I will talk to you if you need any help with anything. Like, if you need to, like, talk to me about something, or I will listen, and I will help you. And, like, just text me, or just make a voice message, explain it. Like, I will automatically listen and help you with your problems. I can relate too. Doesn't matter what race you are, even if you have the same old problems. I could help you fix your problems. And I play gaming as a passion, but I care about everybody as much as I care. I don't care about one race more than another. I care all of you about equal. It doesn't matter if your race, you get less than more the other. You all are used to a different environment, but you're not gonna get this. You're gonna get the same amount of care as you are in a different country. I would care for somebody that wouldn't even speak English the same amount as I would for somebody that was the same age. I might care for somebody that's younger, like a little kid, more than I would care about for an adult. But they're at the same about point. A care is like you understand, like a little life of a kid. He has so much life in front of him. But the same exact time, that's nothing to do with race. The cop brutality is just OP. It's just overrated. Like, they need to fix the cop laws. They need to fix something out of that. They need to start making some laws where cops can't do what they want on their own. They need to do the correct, precise, like, term. They need to do what they're supposed to. And everything in between. And it just makes me sad, because this is a speech. Like, my favorite people in history. George Washington, JFK, Abraham Lincoln. My number one, close to mostly, but I care for him mostly the same as Einstein, Martin Luther King Jr. Only because I mentioned him later is because I was thinking about him before, but I just wanted to put him out there as number one. It's because I was inspired by him to be it, because I could recognize that I was being treated different. Like, Trump is something we shouldn't remember, because he didn't support Black Lives Matter. He started supporting the police. The ones that were making the bad problems. Like, okay, yeah, you serve in the military. You're doing the right thing. You're not doing anything wrong. Because I'm going to be serving too. So I'll be out there with you eventually. But in the same time, you just got to think. Even if you serve in the army, you would understand the cops they seem similar. But at the same time, they're way different. It's a local environment. When you're in the military, you're in an out environment that's not local. It's a non-local. You're like off another country. And you gotta deal with the war, not criminals, just other soldiers. They might be higher rankings, higher divisions, but you still fight them. So I was saying for the black people or the black community, keep fighting your fight and keep doing what you're supposed to do. And we will get through this together. Even you don't have to accept other people, but you can accept me, because I will be there for you. Because it doesn't matter about your race. If they say racial things, it's just not because they're racist. It's just because they were upset. If they do it on purpose, then yes, they could be. If they're constantly doing it, then yeah. I'm a redneck. I don't shoot black people on my lawn. That's just something they say. Because they've seen that rednecks shoot black people, even though in reality, it's not very much don't. Only the ones that don't like anybody but themselves do. But at the point, I don't do that. Which is odd. But like in the end, we all could get through this together. China's gonna have a civil war eventually. We all gotta deal through that. But we all could do this together. I know you all could do it better than anybody has ever had in history. The natives had to go through all this BS, and now you. And hopefully you won't have to go through as bad as other people have. Remember how like the gay lives matter, all that movement? That was hard, but it passed. So the Black Lives Matter should pass. It should pass better than Corona has ever done. There'll be second waves of Corona. There are going to be second waves of riots. But not violent. Violence is not the good. Violence will never help anything. And even Martin Luther King Jr. said that. Violence never helps anything. The non-violence is the best riot. Like, you don't want to start. Yeah, close the door. Rioting is not the best way. You want to protest, but in a nice way. Say, we want this fixed. In a nice way. Don't just say, if you don't do this, we're gonna rob stores. That's something we wouldn't want to do, because you don't want to make a bad influence for what we're doing. And we want to work together as one. You know, like, okay, George Washington, as an example. He was a leader. He didn't care about somebody about their race. He didn't care about black people. He didn't do anything about slavery. He wasn't a slave owner. They were taking down statues of him. Another example. They were putting them in flags and burning them. Burning the flag is disrespectful for them. People that have died. Even people that are African American. There are black people that have served in World War II. If you play Call of Duty World War II, there are black people that served in there. And in reality, there were people that served in Vietnam too that were African American. Back then, females weren't accepted, but color, they didn't give a shit. If you wanted to be in the army, hell yeah. They didn't force you. Unless your parents did. I understand, I can also relate to another thing. Parents being strict. African American parents being strict. But not all. Only for, like, I've seen the females, their parents strict because they care about you. That's why they're being overprotective. And it's an alright thing. It's okay to be upset. But they're just trying to care for you. Even though it doesn't seem like it, they do on the inside. And it is very, very important to listen to that. Brenda, you too. You got overprotective parents, but you see that they're nice. I'm a nice guy, and I've seen that girls' parents like me. Because I'm a nice guy. I could protect their daughter. I would go to my own lengths. I would get myself injured just to save a person, a civilian. It doesn't even matter if they're color. It doesn't matter. If it was just a whole bunch of black people, I wouldn't give a shit. I would help them. Even if I had to get tortured to save them, I would. If I had to become a slave to save them, I would. That would be on my fucking grave. And I'm just gonna swear on that one because I'm serious, because I'm not gonna joke about that. I joke about some things. This video is not about joking. This is seriously. Like, this is some serious stuff that needs to be handled. At a point that we need to work together and fix this. Even if you don't have to, just let your family know. Like, Brenda, you should, like, even if your dad agrees with me, like, it's just, I understand Black Lives Matter. Sometimes it might be BS. I understand we all hate the mask. I do too. I don't like wearing them. It says we have to, but at some times we just gotta buck it up and move on. And in the end, we'll get through it. Like we did with World War II, Vietnam, and everything else. We'll get through Corona just fine too. We got through the Black Plague. Like, what else can we not handle? Like, we're humans. We can handle a lot of things. We've handled asteroids, the Ice Age, the mutations and the evolutions of different species. We could do this. Just like evolution with your family. Like, we could do this. And I will be doing a face reveal soon. We don't have to be 100 subscribers. I was just saying, the more people that subscribe, that lets me know that more people like the content of this ring. I will do more interaction than explaining what things need to be, like, that we could work on. And if you're any curious about any questions, let me know down below. Or my Snapchat is not_SJ69. Not as in the rapper. I like the word, I like the number 69, you know, the position. That was just a little joke that I put in. But, at the point, like, comment there or go to my Instagram, steel_ninja69, like comment on one of my posts or something. You can follow me. It's a private account, but it's alright. I'll follow you back instantly and y'all accept your request. Like, in the between, I will help you with any questions about race or what you should do. But when it comes to cops, it's just unacceptable. And not as a teacher saying unacceptable, I don't like that. But unacceptable as a saying, that's not right. Treat them as a human being, not as a criminal. Like, cops seem like they're walking up to somebody and acting to them like they're a maximum security prison that killed millions of people with a touch of their thumb. Even though at the point, they only were just talking and being nice. Like, okay, if you were talking to a cop and you said a slang term, they might think you're a gangster. Because that's just part of cop protocol. But at the time, they should be more trained to tell what's an actual bad slang and what's not. And they should learn gang signs. Like, they need to be teaching that. They need to get some gangsters that are in the force. Innocent gangsters that used to work as a gangster and then stopped. and then have them teach gang signs so the future people could see it. Like, and just like, we need to get some teaching out here or something. We need to get like a language crash. Like, do African Americans have their own language? Because I thought that they did. And if they do, I want to learn it. I've learned a little bit of German, because I'm partly German. It doesn't say I'm partly African American, but I could be. We don't know. Like, we all know anything could happen. Anything happens. Anything is possible. Everything happens for a reason. The Black Lives Matter treatment is probably because to save the innocent black people that have been tortured for no reason. But at the same time, I don't know if Joe Biden either is going to do that. If you want to bring presidents in this, Joe Biden. Okay, John F. Kennedy. John F. Kennedy was a great president as well. He was assassinated. That was sad. Abraham Lincoln was assassinated. That was sad as also. But at the same time, they were both doing something they were supposed to, and then they got assassinated because somebody didn't like what they were handling. It's like with black people. They were doing what they're supposed to, and then some guy didn't like it, so they end up running up and killing this innocent black person, like cops. But at the same time, you understand the word cop, yes. It's people that protect people. But you think about it, a cop goes into his family. But you think about it, and anybody could become a cop. That means somebody that is a criminal that might be trying to kill you could become a cop out of nowhere. They need to change that. They need to make sure where you're gonna go through certification, make sure you're clean. They gotta make sure you're gun with good safety. You gotta make sure you're mentally. You gotta like make sure you're all right. Nothing bad. And once that would happen, we would all know that would be all right. And then we would fix everything in the between. Like, there are some people that are light skinned even though they're not actually white. They weren't born in America white. They were born in like Europe. Even though they're light skinned, they're not really actually white. They're like European. European is actually the white skin tone. American wasn't the white skin tone. You see like people in California have like Asian skin tone. Like a little bit darker but a little bit lighter. It's the same. It's because the sun, the more sun you get on your skin, the more it produces. But some people are born with the color because it's a genetic too. It's from your ancestors, like natives. You still see natives today because they're still thriving. They don't get made fun of because they used to own this land. If we were in Africa, African Americans would be worshipped. But I don't know why African Americans are not. We don't see people making fun of people that ever lived from Italy, Italians. Like, I don't know why. Why do people not like African Americans? Is it because of the slaves? African Americans were the only ones being slaves. There were so many people being slaves that weren't even black. But there was a lot that were black. There were some white people that were actually in a black family that got put in the slave owner. It's happened. But this is just a little video today. Not a little video, but this is a big video. Sorry for it being so long. I just wanted to speak out my mind about why we should talk about this. If you have any questions, you know where my socials are. I'll have them in the description. Comment if you have anything, if you don't want to do it in the social medias. If you disagree with me, that's alright. But I'm pretty sure the ones that disagree with me probably don't like black people. I understand some people might not give a shit. I don't really give a shit about most things, but I give a shit for black people more than I would for myself. Because I see that because I was abused as a child. And I could relate for them getting killed innocently. I would be beat because I was innocent. Not because of my race. I would be beat because... And it was being beat by a Christian. Even like when it comes to like... religion. Religion is different. Some people celebrate... Religion is like a culture. Similar to that. Like not a cult. Cult, religion. Cult is something you sacrifice. Religion is something you worship. But culture is like both. It's something you worship and also sacrifice. You, instead of sacrifice, you're celebrating. Like when like people that lived in Africa, they like did little things. Like people in Brazil, for a fact, nobody really talks about Brazil. Like, they got darker skin tones too. But nobody's talking about them. They do what they're supposed to. African Americans do what they're supposed to. But you understand what I mean by why do they pick to choose African Americans? And why do they have to choose it in the between? I died because